Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing a full face of makeup that you already have. That's right, I can promise you guys that you guys have these same products that I'm putting on my face at home. Throughout the video, I'm not going to be giving you guys the exact names of the products that I'm using, even though I will link them down below for you, but I'm going to be describing the types of products that I am using so that you can find your version of that in your collection. I figured, even though I am going to give you guys some reviews here and there, this is not the time for all of us to be buying new makeup, and so I wanted to do a full face tutorial of products that I know you can already find something similar to in your collection, so you don't have to purchase anything else. So if you guys like that idea, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell before you leave so that you get notified every time I upload. And if you have any questions or comments, don't forget to leave them in the comment section below. With that said, let's go ahead and get started with the full face of products that you guys already own. The first thing I did was fill in my eyebrows, and I didn't do it on camera because it would just take up space for no reason. I feel like we all have our own way of filling our eyebrows, so whatever that way is for you, we'll go ahead and do that. I will link the products that I personally use for my own eyebrows down below, but that is the first step for this video, and we are going to then go on to eyeshadow, which of course I will be doing here with you guys. I'm going to be using two different palettes for my eyeshadow, which again I'll have linked down below, but this is not about the specific products that we're using. It's just about the tones and the shades and finding something in your collection that will have a similar effect, even if the color is not 100% the same as the color I'm using. Something that has a very similar effect on your complexion and that will give you around the same eye look per se. So instead of telling you guys the names of the eyeshadows I'm using, I'll just be describing the color to you, and you find something in your collection that looks similar to that. So first things first, grab your favorite eyeshadow primer and go ahead and prime your eyelids. I'm going to be doing the same right here, and I'm using a dense packing brush to do that with. I did clean underneath my eyebrows with some concealer when I did my eyebrows, so if you're someone who likes to do that, then of course do it before priming. I love carving out my eyebrows. I think it looks so much better once I do that than before. Okay, the primer is on and we will get started with this eyeshadow look. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little further than right now, but you're not going to be on my eyeball like when I do 5 looks 1 palette videos, because I'm going to be doing both eyes at the same time and I want you to be able to see my whole face. I know you prefer when it's up close, but we're not going to do that for this video only, okay? Don't come for me. Alright, so we're a little closer. You'll be able to see my eyes. I'm going to be very detailed as always, but you can still see my whole face. First things first, grab your favorite, what is this called? Blending. First things first, grab your favorite blending brush, something soft and fluffy, and I'm going to be using a transition shade that is kind of peachy, so it's like a medium toned peachy color. I'm going to be putting that one on the crease of my eye, so you can see right there it's like a couple tones darker than the color of my skin, and it is nice and peachy. I'm going to build it up a little more, of course, with my blending brush, and just back and forth do windshield wiper motions with a color that's similar to this that you have in your collection. And you want to diffuse everything until it kind of like blends out into the color of your skin underneath your brow. So back and forth, blend everything. Of course, I'm going to be doing the same on the other eye. Okay, so hopefully you will find a peachy shade in your collection that you can use like I just used this one. The other thing you could do is just grab any color that's just a couple of shades darker than your skin that you can use as a transition shade. So let's say you don't have a peachy shade and you have something more like brown or taupey, something like this would work as well, as opposed to, I'm going to put it next to my peachy shade so you can see the difference. So that's the peachy shade versus the brown shade. This one just looks a little more neutral, a little less peachy, but you can see they're about the same tone. So it's a couple shades darker than me, and I can use that as a transition. I'm going to switch my brush to something slightly smaller. So this is what they look like next to each other. The first brush I used was this one right here, which is just a little fluffier and then I'm going to be using something that's a little smaller, a little more densely packed, this one here, to go on with the next step. So the next color I'm going to grab is something that is darker than our transition color. So it's not going to be a super intense like black or super intense brown yet. It's going to be like a step up from what we just did. So just go a few shades darker. This right here is the one I'm going to use. That is what it looks like. So this one still has a warm undertone to it. Our peachy color is warm, so the color we're going to put on top of it will also be warm. If you used a transition color that's a little bit more cool tone, maybe you want to go on with something cool tone over as well. So this one that I'm going to use here is kind of like a terracotta-y looking shade, so look for something like that in your collection that you can put on top of your peach. So I'm going to put that color on one side of my brush, and I'm going to pack it on the outer corner of my eye and start blending it into the crease color. Outer corner and blend it upwards. Packing it once again right there and blending it up. Once I barely have anything on my brush, I go in a little further and just layer as much as you have to get the desired intensity. So this for me right here is just kind of where I want to leave it. I'm just going to blend this in a little bit, just like that, and make sure there's no hard edges. You want to have everything nice and blown out. I'm going to do the same thing on this eye. I am back. Both eyes look the same, and I'm going to go one step further and intensify things even more. I'm going to do it using this same brush, but this time I'm going to grab a color that is very, very richly pigmented, pretty dark. If you don't have as dark of a brown in your collection, you can even do like a black shade. I am going to use a very, very dark brown. This right here is the one that I'll be using, so it's very, very intensely pigmented. So you can see like how I started pretty light, then went a couple shades darker, now a couple shades darker than that, and that way I'm building up pigmentation but still allowing myself to have everything blended out. So like I said, with that same brush, I'm going to start right here on the outer corner of the eye. I grabbed very little because I want to build it up rather than to have to freak out and like blend it down, you know? So just packing it on my outer corner at first, and then I'm going to start blending it up onto the crease, but I'm not going to blow it out too much. Just with the tip of the brush right there, blend it into the crease a little bit. And I'm grabbing a little bit more color every once in a while to build it up. And then once I have barely anything on my brush, I'm going to bring it in a little further, just like that. And just blend, blend, blend until nothing looks patchy, nothing looks streaky, everything looks smooth. Basically, that's what we're going for. If you need to, go back with your fluffier brush and just run it through what you already did, and that will help to soften things if anything is looking patchy. I'm going back with more and packing it on that outer corner once again, because I do want my outer corner to be pretty dark. Don't ask me why, because I'm not gonna leave my house today, but it doesn't matter. Forget my eyelid right here. Besides that, see how it looks very nice and like blown out? That's what you want to do. Right here it doesn't matter because we're going to add other colors on the eyelid. I'm going to do the same thing on this eye, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I feel like both my eyes are blended to the same level of intensity. I'm going to make them look even more even in a second because we're going to clean up to like angle them to the same side. So right here I have a cotton and I put some makeup remover on it, and I'm just going to clean my edge. So from underneath my eye, angle it to the end of your brow right there and just clean that. And I'm going to do the same thing on here, and that should help for things to look even more even, right? Yes. Next, grab a color like this one here. I feel like a lot of palettes have a color like this one. So it's like a reddish shimmery shade. It's that color in the palette that you're always like, what am I gonna do with that, you know? And it's just a really pretty reddish shimmer. By the way, if you don't want to do a shimmery red, you can always do a shimmery brown right there as well. That is your alternative. Even though from a few palettes that I just picked up to find the shimmery brown, I found more shimmery reds than browns. But if you are not comfortable with the shimmery red, then just grab a shimmery brown and place it right there. So that is the color that I'm going to put right here next to the brown. So kind of close to the center of your eyelid, and make it meet with the dark brown right there. And for that one, I'm going to use a flat shader brush. So I'm going to put it right there near the center of my eye. Pat, pat, pat it all the way up to like the crease area. And just make it meet with the dark brown right there. That was fairly simple. We're going to do the same thing on this eye. So again, just pat it from the center and onto the dark brown, but you don't want to go over the dark brown, just meet it with your reddish shimmer. And now we're going to grab a very glittery goldish shade. So the one I'm going to use is this one right here. So as you can see, is a very glowy champagne gold type of shade. So whatever your version of that is, go ahead and grab it. And with the same shader brush, I'm going to start patting that onto my eyelid right here in the inner half. And you're going to again make it meet the red and go over it a little bit so that it blends nicely. And then with my blending brush here, I'm going to bring the brown over the red a little bit as well so that it transitions better. Okay, so just like this, I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. Okay, and this is what things are looking like for the top of the eye. We're going to pause on the eyes right here, and we're going to start doing some complexion makeup, and then we'll finish up the eye later. Okay, so let's move on to complexion. My face is already hydrated. I did put moisturizer and eye cream on before I started filming. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a makeup primer. Because today I'm not going to use a foundation that is necessarily super hydrating for me, I'm going to use a more hydrating makeup primer. So just whichever makeup primer you have that goes with your favorite foundation, go ahead and use that one. And I'm just patting it on with my sponge. So next, just go ahead and grab your favorite foundation. I'm using a medium to full coverage one just because I want very perfected kind of skin with this look, and start applying it. I'm going to apply it with my beauty blender. If you prefer to apply your favorite foundation with a brush, then go ahead and do that. So I'm just patting this one all over. Okay, and I just built it up until it covered everything I wanted covered. So I put a little extra right here on my cheeks so that you don't see my redness coming through. I'm breaking out pretty bad around my chin area. I think it's due to stress probably, because everything's very unstable and insecure right now. I think I have some UFO drops left from Sunday Riley, and that's what I've used to treat my hormonal acne in the past. So I think I'm going to start using that again to see if all of this goes away. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the way that my foundation looks. I'm trying to like cover what I'm using. If you have a color corrector that you like and you usually color correct underneath your eyes, go ahead and do that. If you just cover your under eyes with concealer, then just wait for the next step. Most of you will know whatever product I'm using because it's my favorite. But this is not about the product. It's about what you have at home. So use what you have at home. I'm going to blend that out, and I'm going to apply my concealer. I like to go from the inner corner of the eye down on the side of the nose, and then spread my concealer out from there. If your concealer has a thicker wand or it's a pretty like full coverage concealer, then just apply very little in that area so that when you start blending it out, it's not too much product. Even though this one's pretty lightweight, I first put most of it where I need it the most, and then I'll go on the highlight area, bring it down the side of the nose, and distribute it from there. I'm going to add a little to my chin and the center of my forehead, and I'm going to blend out chin, nose, and forehead first, again using my beauty blender. And now I'm going to go on to underneath my eyes. And this looks like a lot of concealer, and it honestly is a lot of concealer, but the concealer that I chose for myself is a pretty lightweight concealer, so it doesn't look heavy on. If you are using a pretty full coverage concealer for this step, then I would recommend that you spread it out as much as you can to get a similar effect. And just blend everything out with your sponge or brush. I will say, even though sometimes I prefer to use brushes for specific foundations or tinted moisturizers over my sponge, there's no brush I prefer for concealer over my sponge. Even if I'm using a brush for foundation, I always grab a sponge to blend out my concealer. Alright, so we are nice and bright. I'm going to just leave it as is. I'm not going to set it right away because I want to use a cream contour product. So if you have any favorite cream or liquid contour colors, then go ahead and grab that one. If you don't, that's okay. We're also going to do a powder bronzer later, so then just wait until that step. I went ahead and applied my favorite cream or liquid contour, and I'm just blending it out right now with my sponge. I'm going to start blending it on the other side as well. I'm using the side of my sponge for this because the side of my sponge doesn't have a lot of foundation on or concealer, so it's not going to make my contour look lighter. It's just going to blend it out. And then if I do need to lighten things up, I go on with the tip, which is the one that has a little bit leftover concealer on there, to brighten up like right here underneath, because I want my cheeks to look more defined. Let me blend out this nose contour. Now I am officially done with my cream products, and I'm going to set my face just a little bit. I'm going to use a very lightweight translucent powder, something that is just going to set my under eyes, but it's not going to create any texture. I might set the center of my face with it as well, but I'm not going to set my contour with it or anything because we are going to do some bronzer and blush and all of that, so that's already powder. I don't need the additional translucent powder all over my face. Now I do have very dry skin and I'm going for a glowy look. If you have oily skin and you like to modify, then by all means put powder all over your face. I have some powder on my brush right here, and I'm going to tap right underneath my eye to make sure that my concealer is not creased, and I'm going to apply the powder. So I'm doing right here, right on top of where I put the concealer basically. Same thing on this eye, tap first, then immediately powder on top of where I put the concealer. And I am going to lightly powder the center of my forehead right here because this is the only place where I do get a little shiny that I don't want to be shiny. I'm also going to powder right down here. As I said, I wasn't going to powder all over. I'm just going to do a little bit right here because since I'm breaking out, I want my foundation not to break apart right there. Okay, so this is all the powdering I'm going to do besides the bronzer and all of that. Like I said, I don't know if I should do my eyes now or if I should... Yeah, let's go ahead and finish up the eyes. I'm going to grab a pencil brush and I'm going to grab the darkest color I use on the outer corner, that very dark brown. I'm going to use that one right underneath my lower lash line. So I'm going to get my pencil brush and I'm going to put that color all underneath my lower lash line. I always like to start on the outer corner so that most of the pigment is there, and then just bring it in. Same thing on this eye, of course. And then with a very small blending brush, this is my favorite one of those. This is the M506. That's what it looks like right there. I'm going to grab our transition shade, that peachy shade that we initially put on, and I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line with it. So right underneath the brown, blend everything out with it. The last step as far as eyeshadow is concerned for my eyes is going to be an inner corner highlight. So just grab any like light pearly shimmery shade that you have. If you want to go more intense, go more intense. I'm going to use this color right here, so it's like a pearly type of shade. And with the same shader brush, I just wiped it off on my paper towel. I'm going to go into my inner corner right here and place it there, and I'm going to take it a little inwards right here. I like to highlight on top of that gold. I'm so sorry, I didn't even have you close for that. So right here, inner corner, and then inwards just a little bit on top of the gold right there. So this right here is around what your eyes should be looking like. And I'm going to line the waterline of my eye, and I'm just going to use a gel-like pencil in a black shade So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so just like this, any black eyeliner that you have that you would like to put in your waterline, go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to go back with my pencil brush right here, and I'm going to run it through my lower lashes, and that way I think some of that black eyeliner is going to be blended down a little bit. Just running my pencil brush in between my lower lashes. Yes, see right there how I just brought some of that dark down a little bit? So that is the effect that I was going for. Because I feel like I look a little weird, what I'm going to do first before I move on to anything else face related is I'm going to put mascara on. So grab your favorite mascara and apply it. And you are now done with the eyeshadows, by the way, so you can put those away. I'm just going to do some mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I layered tons of mascara on because I'm not going to do any kind of false lashes, so I just put on as much mascara as I could basically, and we're going to go on with the bronzer. So just grab your favorite bronzer and start applying it. I like to start by my ear and then work it down and upwards so that the most intensity is right there. If you didn't do any cream or liquid contour, you want to do a lot more bronzer than I'm doing. So just build it up until you get to this level of intensity basically. And I'm going to go right underneath here. Now with the powder bronzer, I like to hit the side of my neck as well. I'm going to do the same thing with this side, of course. Okay, so now that my bronzer is placed, go ahead and grab your favorite pinky mauve toned blush and apply it. I would say don't go with anything orangey just because your eye look is more on the like mauve toned side. So I'm grabbing something that's more of like a neutral pinky shade, and I'm going to start applying it right here on the apples of the cheeks first and then blending it back into my bronzer. Same thing on this side, of course, starting on the apples and blending it back into the bronzer. And now for highlighter, just grab your favorite highlighter. I'm not grabbing one that's too gold, but if yours is a little bit more golden than this one, then that's okay. And I'm going to start right here on the top of my cheekbone, blend it a little bit onto my temple, and then with whatever's left, bring it down on top of my blush a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, of course. So tops of the cheeks first, blend it into the temple a little bit, and then down on top of my blush. And I have a very light touch. I'm just kind of dusting it on. I'm putting a little right down the center of my nose. I don't think I want to do the tip. And a little on my chin. And I want to do a nude lip, so grab your favorite nude lip liner and line your lips with it. Okay, so now that I did that, I'm going to grab a nude lipstick and just apply it right in the center and blend it into that nude liner. This is what we're looking like. We have one step to go, and that is just setting spray. I'm going to use an illuminating one because I like to have that glow, but just grab your favorite setting spray and go off. And this is it. This is a full face of makeup that you already have. I know that most of you have colors like this in your collection, and of course you'll have your foundation, concealer of preference and all of that. So I hope that you guys liked this video idea. Let me know if you recreated the look at home with your own products. Of course, if you want to see anything I use, I will have it linked down below, because if there was something that you really liked, I don't want you to be wondering what it was. I don't want it to like eat you alive. Oh, what did she use that day for that video, right? So I'm going to link everything down below. But the point of this video is for you to go through your collection and get your colors that kind of look like this and recreate a look like this one. I didn't want to do anything too bright or too colorful or too out there. I wanted to keep it kind of neutral because those are the colors that I know we all have in our collection. So that way you guys can feel comfortable going through your stuff and recreating something like this. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. If you have anything to say or ask, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you back in tomorrow's video. Bye!